Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Inside Infinity episode number 78 Roundtable. I am Will Kelly, joining you again with Jason Haynes. And last but not least on the docket, calling from his bat phone, none other than the bad gamer, Lim Filiot. Lim, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Awesome. I'm recycling technology.
You are. It's like the only thing that would make that better is if you were sporting the Zach Morris.
I have one somewhere. I'm
Oh,
sure.
that would be great. So welcome back, chat. We gained a few, we lost a few in the break, but we do have a great roundtable ahead of everyone. So thanks for sticking it out with us. How's it going, Nick? Model Train Man, good seeing you back in there. And the Pirate Steven joined us, so did the Baroness 89. Welcome everyone to the live chat of this week's roundtable. Jason came up with the idea of our conversation for the week. Kind of ties into a little bit of what we talked about in the main show. So, Jason, with that, why don't you just go and take it away?
All right, yeah, well, I'm actually going to title this topic exactly what our friend Jay in the Facebook forums, I couldn't think of the site's name for a second, the Facebook
Facebook page.
group discussed, and that's uh, are weekly toy box challenges hurting or helping Disney Infinity, I guess is the title of this discussion. But it'll sort of flow on to also a discussion about this upcoming Disneyland project. Um, but I'll just start with a bit of an intro and then I'll get your ideas. We'll sort of split it in slightly too. So my feelings are, the question is, at the moment, for those that may or may not know or listening to the first time, currently what we've been doing for the last 2 years is that we've been having challenges announced that it's a certain topic, and we have, what is it, a week or 2 weeks to build a toy box for that topic. And the top five of those toy boxes are selected to be uh, well, what are they? Featured on the
Right.
Toy Box TV YouTube show, which is the official Disney Infinity YouTube show, so to speak. Now, the question is, well, that's what we'll start by discussing that whether that is a where that works and where that doesn't work. Obviously, the biggest area that I think it's sort of lacking is the fact that like there's potentially so many toy boxes that aren't getting featured, which in 1.0 was a real issue because you literally couldn't play them. In 2.0, at least those toy boxes are available. Um, but I don't know, Lem, what do you think? What do you think of the idea of um, is it setting people up to fail when clearly the top tier toy box artists are aware of these challenges well before they're announced on Toy Box TV, and hence have the greatest chance of being nominated as the top five? Is that an issue, you think, for younger players who genuinely have hopes that they will be selected in the top five when in reality have zero chance of getting selected? What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't say zero chance per se. I mean, because they got to come out of
1%.
some. They got to they got to come from somewhere. Everybody started from zero. All right. Now,
Yeah.
I grew up knowing. Okay, well, you know what? Don't climb the tree. Why won't you climb the tree? Well, climb the tree and find out. And you know, 12 stitches later, you know why you don't climb the tree. So I think that, you know, it's not necessarily hurting the community. I think it's helping to grow those younger folks, and those that pretty much stink at toy box building like me. you know, it get the challenges at least give me a place to start. I know I'm gonna enter. I might not win. I'd like to win. I might not win, but it at least gets me in there a place to start. The worst thing any artist can have is a blank slate in front of them.
Oh, I agree.
So, Jason, chat's mentioning it. Would it help if Lincoln Hayes is saying challenges are great, but would be better if there was a longer list of winners and honorable mentions? Do you think that would be a helpful solution to make that non-existent chance a little bit more possible?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if I was running the show, I perhaps maybe I would do a system where whatever the keyword is, that all the boxes that were officially submitted for that challenge have their own area, so you can actually see all the entrants for the topic, and then just have them ordered by the amount of likes that the community has shown, so that again the cream will rise to the top, so that because I personally I don't look past the top 5 winners
Yeah.
unless I created it. So it's like, it's I just think it'd be nice to be able to at least have access. I wonder what was the 6th best one according to the players. I just think that'd be a good way to go about it, but that's also a good way of looking at it too.
So bringing it actually back to Jay's comment on the Facebook group, he said it was so great being able to boot up DI last weekend and play a bunch of Aladdin toy boxes. Having said that, the majority of them are quick fix mini games. So Jason, what you're essentially asking for is a collection of the weekly challenges, so you can go out and explore outside of just keyword searches, but then having them rated not only for the winners or honorable mentions, but even just like another rating system to kind of get the better boxes towards the top.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's 2-part. It's key just definitively being able to see all the toy boxes that people legitimately were submitting. I want this toy box to be part of this challenge, and then to be able to play all of those effectively, and then give the likes and stuff so that it'll go up or down based on that, based on the community's vote, so to speak. So theoretically, between all the community, you would think a good chunk of those toy boxes would at least get tested or tried, and I imagine that's a really good way of getting the top content to the top.
The Baroness 89, a toy box winner, says, personally, we shouldn't put weight to just 5 toy boxes for a challenge. Boxes for a challenge should be grouped under one tab each week. And then J2319 is saying, I think right now the wins are not about winning as much as visibility. Make all boxes more visible. So it sounds like the chat is pretty much in agreement with you, Jason. It's like, first things you got to do is just make these toy boxes more visible so more people can more easily find them, and that's a hot button issue for you always, right, Jason? Is visibility and sharing and making these toy boxes accessible.
Well, and that brings us to the second part of this discussion, which was also mentioned, and that's length of toy box. Is the short mini games, I believe the term was, and I think that's a good term for it. Is the mini game a positive or a negative thing when it comes to Disney Infinity? Because they are really, most toy boxes you'll play, well, again, in my circumstances, unless it's something particularly special, most toy boxes I'll play it for like 5-10 minutes. I will never play it again. You know what I mean? And that's just because there is so much content there to consume that, like, there's, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think the short form is positive or negative?
Well, it depends on your household. Like for me with Bad Gamer Jr., those short things are gold. I can set him up with that and get some editing done. You know?
So for you want to be able to queue like a 10 short toy boxes together so you can just play one right after another.
Oh, good Lord, yes, please. And they don't have to be super easy. He's going to be 5 next week. And he finished a different video game, Lego Marvel Superheroes, before I did.
Well, you are the bad gamer.
Yes, well, just saying. but like I think the small ones are a great idea. Now, when I get in there, I want to have something of sustenance. I want to have a Pirates of the Caribbean. Which was, meaty.
Right.
I honestly don't think I finished everything in that. And matter of fact, I know I didn't finish everything in that because I never got my pirate ship until now.
So for your son, you prefer shorter toy boxes. For you prefer longer toy boxes. More.
Absolutely.
So Romulus in the chat is bringing up an excellent point. Without the ability to save your position, long form toy boxes just aren't that viable. So that is a great concern right there. I mean, if you are, Lim, you were referring to Pirates, which is a playset, and so a playset style toy box, that would be, I mean, you'd have to marathon it to get through something that long.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, why can't we put in some sort of save feature?
Yeah.
3.0 save feature in the toy box.
Yeah, I mean, and that to me, I would imagine that would be pretty simple thing to do is just create auto save. Well, there are checkpoints, but that doesn't
Same.
if you leave. Yeah, so you need something that once that actually creates kind of like a save file in that toy box for you.
That'd be cool. That'd be very cool.
The Baroness A9 saying, yeah, I can't make a long toy box. Once you save too many times, the logic breaks. Yeah, we've heard issues with that as well. More
Well,
bugs in the game.
I really do think they're on the absolute right track though with this Disneyland project. Again, for those that don't know, they're currently launching a Disneyland project in which the, what are they called? Community mentors are building effectively the overmap. They're building the grounds of Disneyland and then using the community to build the interiors of the rides. So they've built all the front ends to all the rides, and then they're going to put it as part of the top 5 challenges, ask people to build those interiors of the rides. Now, I think that's absolutely the right direction to go, and this is why it's great that Lem's on this show, because I wanted to ask him, what do you think a good Marvel alternative would be for a similar thing? Because everyone goes immediately like, we've got Disneyland, oh, awesome, let's do Disney World, let's do Disney Paris, let's do all the Disney parks. But the reality is we need similar stuff for the Marvel and potentially the Star Wars universe, because it's a great way of aggregating that minigame content into one big playset quality thing. So, Len, what do you think they could do for a similar thing for the Marvel universe?
Well, I'd like to say we could do the X Mansion, but we can't.
Why?
So I'm just saying, because somebody's got something going on with somebody else. I don't know all the details. All I know is somebody's holding back.
Okay.
Anyway, this is not the Marvel show. That was for me, not for you guys. That was for me.
just a little reminder for yourself.
Right. But I would think that easily you can do anything with the Avengers Mansion. I mean, it's a massive, massive thing. You've got with Spider-Man. Why can't we, and it's the Ultimate Spider-Man version. Why can't we do an inside the helicarrier, all that good, everything together, all of New York, an Avengers Spider-Man New York where they could all do everything together. And then they could go up to Westchester and get into a danger room.
So this is the Avengers Mansion you're referring to, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So for someone who's not versed in the Marvel universe, I assume this is something that houses all of the Avengers. Is that correct?
Yes.
So
and you've got lower levels and all kinds of crazy levels as well.
So I love the idea. As someone who's not that big of a Marvel guy, one question I have for you, Lim, is that Disneyland is a huge area. It's not a single building. So you're thinking that like for this maybe the mentors could create the exterior and then inside have the different rooms, but then those linked off via toy box stores.
Absolutely. And this needs, I mean, honestly, if interiors worked well, this could easily be done. I mean, you could do it in one, but to have people develop their own rooms and develop their own training centers, I think would be a great thing. You've got if we have to bring in Guardians of the Galaxy, why can't we build good Lord, I forget the name of the planet now, but wherever Nova Prime is.
I can't help you.
Yep. I know it from the movies.
Probably frozen here.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, I got no idea what you're talking about. I am completely Marvel out. That's why you're on the show, buddy. You're on your own.
Okay. All right. But you've seen the movie. You know what I'm talking about.
Guardians of the
Yes.
Galaxy. Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So the planet that Nova is that the whole Nova Corps is on.
Yeah.
I forget it. Somebody tell me in the chat.
I think you got right. Isn't it Nova Prime?
Is it really? Well, see, look at that. Don't even know what I'm talking
Sounds
about.
right.
But yes, I would say definitely. You could do that. You could do that whole planet. It's not a major piece of that story.
Yeah.
But because we're pulling from the movie version, we could totally do that. Xandar, thank you. Who was that? Thanks, pirate.
and nowhere.
Yes, and nowhere. And we kind of have nowhere.
Right.
But not. I mean, it's not all of nowhere. I mean, we're pretty limited in what we have in as far as the Marvel universe goes.
Mm-hmm.
You could do with Mesa Verde. Now that you have Hulk and the Agents of Smash, you could do all of Mesa Verde. You could do, who else do we have? Go back in time and do a whole World War II Red Skull base area.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just build Germany.
There you go. There's your large scale. The Baroness 89 in the chat is saying that you could have the Avengers Mansion, which you just discussed, Stark's Malibu Mansion, Stark Industries, and Shield Triskelion.
Savage Land, Romulus is saying absolutely.
Yeah.
Monster Island, let's do Asteroid M, please.
What's Asteroid M?
Actual Daily Bugle. See, all of that. A lot of the actual Daily Bugle be in the big New York.
Right. So for that one, you could have the Mentors build New York essentially, which we kind of already have, and then you could have the Avengers Mansion. You could have the Daily Bugle. You could have what's that?
The high school.
The high school.
Midtown High.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. So you've just explained that it's a wide world open. It's heaps to do.
What about a full size scale replica of the helicarrier? I know not to steal Papa Echo's thunder because he is the OG when it comes to the helicarrier, but
yeah, a full size one would be great. Like again, I keep referencing it, but the Lego Marvel superheroes, they had a pretty close to full size, what felt like full size anyway, helicarrier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, different rooms. Deadpool had his own room, which reminds me, never mind now.
So, Jason, bringing it back around to this being kind of a great conduit to have the community collaborate on a toy box. 2319 in the chat is saying, am I the only one that feels the project is a great concept, but we are going to have a massive toy box with very little actual gameplay? Is this something that either of you are concerned about, that it's going to be, for at least the Disneyland project one, and then we could talk about that in relation to the Marvel version of this?
I mean, I've got some concerns. I don't think, like, obviously I think the overworld probably won't necessarily, well, it doesn't not have to have any gameplay in it, but my concern is, isn't there I think there's a 10 door limit currently to a toy boxes, or is it, no, you can only connect 10 toy boxes?
I think you can only connect 10. It was in the actual rules, so let me look that up while you continue talking.
So I don't know how that's technically going to work as far as the overall, is that if that limits the amount of actual paths, so to speak, that you could have off, your central world, so to speak. But certainly there's no reason why. I mean, there could be a ton of gameplay. It really comes down to the interpretation of the community member, how they decide to interpret the ride, like whether it's, are they doing a literal rendition of the Peter Pan ride, or are they making a gamification version of the Peter Pan ride? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it's obviously up to whoever's directing the Disneyland project to determine what they're looking for, which is kind of what's going to be the outcome of this is, do we need to provide greater direction because of the end game? Like, to me, it would have been nice if they had said, and maybe they did, I don't know, but we're doing a Disneyland project and we're specifically looking for people to do as close to close replicas of the rides versus interpretations, if you know what I mean. And that direction, by setting that direction more clearly, you get a better overall playset quality box because everything is consistent. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a situation where you go into the Pirates of the Caribbean and you're going to get a particular type of experience. Then you go to another one, and it's a completely different type of experience. So you know what I mean. That's going to create some split there.
Yeah, but is that okay? I mean,
oh yeah, that's fine. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to think. This is the complete opposite to the short form toy box. Is we're actually using the community together to work on something, which I think is far more rewarding than just the top 5 win. Is just as if 20, 30 artists basically achieve this toy box. That, but for me personally, at least, I would find that so more enjoyable to be able to go, we help create this epic toy box that would have far more impact into the community outside of Disney Infinity. They would, particularly if an entire community built a standout Marvel gameplay experience, that's the kind of thing that the people that are from the outside looking in would take notice of.
Right.
Rather than an Iron Man flying game where you're collecting orbs. You know what I mean? If someone said they built this mansion, whatever it is,
right?
Don't you think that's something that sounds more impressive, and a much more impressive tale to tell as far as the community is concerned? Something we could be proud of.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Personally, for me, I agree with you. But it's a double-edged sword, because what if it's, I guess, not a double-edged sword, but there's many aspects of these toy boxes. What if it's so true to life, but it hardly has any gameplay? How much merit goes to that realization of that attraction and the constraints of Disney Infinity versus a gameplay toy box that maybe it tells the tale of Pirates or Haunted Mansion or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. I mean, that's why it's so great crowdsourcing, right? Seeing what each person's interpretation of these rides are going to be, or attractions.
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, you guys are definitely looking at it from the point of view of people that have been on the rides, been there. I've never been to a Disney park, so anything that anybody does in this park is going to be my new view of whatever happens. So
put the pressure on.
You hear that, toy box artist? If you are shaping Lem's vision or view of the Disneyland theme park.
Exactly. So I'm just saying, hopefully it's accurate. And if there's no gameplay, I'm kind of okay with that. It's the closest I've come to having a Disney park experience was that Connect game that was on the 360.
So Allison from Disney Infinity community is saying, looking for toy boxes that recreate the story layout mechanics, but up to you how much artistic leeway you take. So that's kind of...
Well, and again, look, this in the context of the Disneyland project, personally, I want to see as accurate as possible, because I think the fun and the challenge is how close as a community can we get to recreating Disneyland using the toys we've got, the limited toys that we've got. I think the entertainment is in that side of things. But if we look outside of the Disneyland project, which is why I brought up Marvel, I'm saying if you had a toy box, let's call them a toy box director. They're one of the community mentors or whatever. And they can come up with any old game type. It doesn't need to be something that's necessarily recognized in the world. We just say, we're going to build a really great space game. And they they pitch the game and they say, here's the overworld. And then they just have to split it up. Here's all the types of mini games that we'd like to see that would integrate really well with this concept and theme. And that could be totally gamey. You know what I mean? Then it's about the community of creating the most fun mini game that suits whatever the person who's in charge of it all is setting. And that is when you get this really tight integrated place that people who aren't good in the toy box are super excited about, because that could literally be a 2-3 hour gaming experience, depending on how big they can make that and how many artists are submitting those concepts together.
The difference between the Marvel, I think this is my view on this. The difference between the Marvel place, giant toy box, if or whatever we're calling them,
That's a good name.
and
Giant toy
the
box.
Disney
Patented.
one, would be that I think that the Disney one is completely recreating an experience, whereas the Marvel one should be retelling of a storyline. Like if you took like when you mentioned, hey, what would you build? I didn't even think of a storyline like Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody's familiar with Secret Wars, but the Secret Wars storyline was almost like all the major characters, every single one of the major characters, bad guys, villains, and good guys and heroes, and what the main guy that brought them all together, the Beyonder, did, he took pieces from every planet in the cosmos and made a planet. So you could be in Chicago in one step, in 2 steps you could be on Xandar. So I think something like that would be a great toy box. Heck, I'm building that. That's it. Dibs. I thought of it. That's my idea.
Okay. And gameplay-wise, that makes a lot of sense because based on what you just said, when you've got a situation where there's all these different characters, if you've got that overworld, you rock up to a door that's going to launch a game, that game might be, I don't know, what's his name? Thor. It might be a Thor-specific level. And doesn't that make sense in an overall game-type levels? Like, no, so if you want to go through this door, you have to put down your Thor character. You know what I mean? It just lends itself beautifully to this, I guess, taking the responsibility of making it look beautiful. We put that in the hands of the absolute pros, and then we just get to submit our interpretation of the mini games. But together, they make an amazing experience for just the people who want to play. I think that's sensational.
So I love this conversation, Jason, because on the one hand, you have something very concrete in the form of a Disneyland theme park, something that's tangible, something that many of us have quite a bit of experience with. And for a lot of fans of the parks, it sounds like, and just doing a anecdotal poll of the chat, that people want the park as true to life as possible. Well, that could be missed on people that have never been to the parks or don't have as much experience. And it's funny, you have two very similar things. You have your park on one hand, and then you have limbs like Secret Wars concept, or in the chat they're talking about Ultimatum or Civil Wars, or even the movies, that it really it's providing the same function, crowdsourcing a large toy box, but it is accomplishing two different things. One is much more, at least kind of at first glance, much more structured in the form of something that exists and should kind of follow a formula in the form of the Disneyland project. But then if you have the Marvel one, it allows for more free or open-minded and free-formed ideas. Both, I think, would be interchangeable. Like Lim, if you wanted to retell the story of one of those comics or one of the movies, you very much so could do that. Or Jason, if you want to have a Space Mountain that actually tells a story and isn't just a ride, then that's possible too. But it's just kind of interesting how the two fans are different, and how you might get two different types of toy boxes coming out of each one of those.
Yeah. But and it wouldn't replace the individual toy box. I'm just saying this is something I think that would very much coexist alongside. In my mind, would replace the top five. That the top five would become basically the selector box to say, okay, so as a community, we're building the Disneyland, and help us all choose the best version of the Peter Pan ride to go in this box. And it's almost as if we're saying, hey, we're developing a game together here, people, and this game is going to be played by countless newcomers to the franchise, and we want to build something that's so impressive that people want to get involved in the project. And so it just seems such a better mentality to have, and I just think would be so much more rewarding, as because we are such a close fan base anyway. We're such a close community as it is, and I think to to give us the opportunity to work together to make this game even more stand out more is, I think, a really great thing.
Uh, my thought is, Jason, to kind of to reinforce that, is that I like that it is a collaborative event instead of just a competitive challenge. You know, you could have five of the top toy boxes. They've communicated with each other and they are staying out of each other's ways, and or toy box artists it is, and they are focusing on different attractions or stories in the case of Marvel, competing, you know, in those subsections of those individual challenges. But the overall goal isn't to see who ranks from 1 to 5 and who's in the top spot, who's in the 5th spot, and who didn't make the cut, but who made the cut to build this collaborative environment.
Yeah, yeah. Well, just as a side note, before, like a long time ago, you know this, I'm going to make this public because I'm never personally going to do it, but I think you remember, Will, I had the idea when I started building the website. I had the concept of creating a movie entirely in the Disney Infinity engine. And the way I was going to do it was going to write a script, probably not by me, but we were going to write a script, divide the script up into scenes and shots, and then effectively crowdsource the creation of those individual shots and scenes. And I think Disney could make Disney Infinity to be able to utilize that concept of have someone, some talented writer, someone probably a little bit more talented than the Avengers playset, but a talented writer that writes a story. Disney split that up and then to basically put that up as the top 5. It's like, we're going to create this story this week. The challenge this week is we're doing this section of our toy box story, and then have everyone submit that and select the best one. And what you end up with from this Frankenstein thing is this really cool, well told out playset quality story that could be a Disney approved story, so to speak. Or if Disney don't do it, I'll do it anyway, and we'll end up with ones that are a bit more edgy.
There you go. Putting the blue in blue sky.
But collaborative storytelling is something we haven't really seen before, and I think Disney Infinity will allow collaborative storytelling.
Yeah,
which I think is awesome. Collaborative storytelling in a game context.
Right. Yeah, I think it's great, and who knows, maybe this could be the groundwork to their serialized stories that the mentors are currently working on. This could kind of flesh out the process of creating the collaboration and then just figuring out how to plug that into their stories.
Well, Disneyland will tell everything. The success of Disneyland project will potentially completely shape the future on how toy boxes are built and why they're built, in my opinion. Right. So I'll be watching very closely and trying to get my toy box in there.
Great. Well, Lim, do you have any kind of parting thoughts you want to say about Jason's idea?
Well, I just think that for the new people that are coming in, because I talk to new people that are literally buying the game almost every other day. Like they're asking me, hey, which one do I get? What's the difference between 1.0, 2.0? And the thing I bring up is the community involvement. You know, the forums, us, the Instagram, Twitter, everybody that's involved. I tell them, you know, the game is good. The community is better. The community is better than the game.
Yep.
So that's why you need to get this game.
It's true. I mean, and it's no doubt that Disney has recognized the importance of the community and how, I mean, almost to a fault, they've leaned on the community too much for 2.0, saying that's why we don't need play sets. I doubt that community support is going to go away anytime soon, and these projects like the Disneyland project is kind of indicative of that.
Absolutely.
Do you want to mention, because we kept saying top 5, so thanks Romulus in the chat. So Allison confirmed that the Fantasyland challenge is going to have 6 quote unquote winners, so, or a top 6, not necessarily winners, but a top 6 for those different rides, because there's going to be 6 of them. and Fantasyland. So cool. All right. Well, gentlemen, I think that's going to wrap up this week's roundtable. Jason, great conversation. I think it was good, and you even got to tap into limb strength a little bit, calling on the what's the Marvel version of the Bat Phone?
Why would you need a bat phone? Everybody's got it like in their ear already.
Well, I don't. I'm just trying to make it less embarrassing for you right now.
Hey, you know what? Not only do I have my my phone, but after we're done, I'm gonna go listen to some music on my Zune.
Oh, that is amazing. Well, I mean, people were saying that you look like Bret Michaels tonight, so I guess you are kind of tapping back into that era.
Hey, I actually got to meet and hang with Bret Michaels for a little bit.
That's crazy. You'll save that for the after show. You'll have to let us know about that.
Okay. All right.
Well, listen, Lim, thanks for joining us again this week. We will get some more Marvel conversation. We had you on 2 weeks ago, but we lost that video, so we're going to have you on again real soon. But
awesome,
thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Jason, great conversation topic this week. Really enjoyed. I can't wait to hear what new items that you have to talk about that you can claim dibs on coming up with the ideas.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right, everyone. Well, we hope you enjoyed this week's roundtable. If you'd like to contribute to the roundtable, pitch us an idea, and you don't really have to pitch us an idea. We're going to be keeping an eye out on either our Twitter or on our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Disney Infinity TV. This week's conversation came straight from Jay over there on our Facebook group, so make sure you join in that conversation, and maybe we'll be talking about one of your topics in the very near future. Hope everyone enjoyed the roundtable for episode number 78 of the Inside Infinity podcast. And until next week, we hope your week is filled with infinite possibilities.